Hello guys. Today we're gonna talk about a director. Today we're gonna talk about a guy called Chris Columbus. Now, and that name may not ring to a lot of people. He's actually directed a ton of big movies that you guys probably are familiar with. So let's start talking about his bio here to kind of give an idea here. Of course, he was born in 1958 in Pennsylvania. Um, he was raised in Ohio. He was first inspired to make movies after seeing The Godfather at 15. He enrolled in NYU Film School. He sold his first screenplay. It was never produced. While a sophomore there, after graduation, Columbus tried to sell his fourth script, Gremlins, with no success until Steven Spielberg optioned it. So he wrote Gremlins, which some of you might know that. Um, let's see, and then two more scripts for Spielberg, The Goonies and Young Sherlock Holmes. Now, both of them were pretty notable, especially The Goonies. His his first directing movie was Adventures in Babysitting, which was a very pretty good. And that was a big movie too. And his one of his best hits was directing Home Alone. He directed Home Alone, the first one at least. And that one was written by John Hughes. He also directed Home Alone 2 as well, and he also did Mrs. Doubtfire. I think. Here's some trivia. So Gremlins was originally written as a dark satire of It's a Wonderful Life. That's one right there. So he lived in England for a year and a half while filming the first two Harry Potter films. He directed the first two Harry Potter films. Um, he opted out of the third because he wanted to go back home to be with his family. He was also considered to direct the first Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire. That would have been something. All right, so let's go over his filmography in a bit more detail here. Hmm. I always forget how to access it in IMDb. It drives me crazy. Hmm. Then- hmm. Oh yeah, it's original page. Yeah. All right. Let's see filmography. So he's done a little bit of everything. Let's start his work as a writer. Writer. Let's see. Oh, it's already separated. So there, We'll skip producer credits. So writer, he has 20 credits, of course. Written reckless, not much there. Gremlins wrote, Goonies, Chris Young, Sherlock Holmes, Gremlins video game from '85. Galaxy High School series, he wrote 8 episodes. Goonies 2 video game, he wrote. Break Hotel, Little Nemo, he wrote the screenplay for. Gremlins 2, of course. He wrote the screenplay for the 9 Months movie. Ugh. Oh man, he wrote Christmas with the Cranks. Ugh. Not everything can be 5 stars. Ugh. Christmas with the Cranks. Ugh. Um, and then possible Gremlins 3 and Goonies 2 movies coming at some point. Let's look at his directing credits. Directed Avengers Babysitting, Heartbreak Hotel, Home Alone 2, Mrs. Doubtfire he directed. I don't see Bicentennial Man he directed. The first two Harry Potter films, Rent he directed. The I Love You Beth Cooper movie. Ugh. Percy Jackson he tried to get into, the first Percy Jackson movie. Yeah, but not as much as you would think. He did a lot of stuff in the 80s and 90s, but it looked like he really kind of slowed down during the 2000s. Like, not a ton. Especially with writing, like a huge break between from stuff like I think by the looks of it, it looks like he was on fire for a while for the most part. I mean, he had some not so good ones, but for the most part he was solid. But it looked like by the early 2000s, it looked like he was just kind of ready to just be done. Because after, because we read that trivia that he wanted to go home, opted out the third film to go home to be with his family. Really, around that time, his filmography just slows down to a screeching halt. And I almost wonder if he decided to just kind of call it good and just kind of focus on his family full time, which is understandable for sure. But yeah, from 80s into the 80s and 90s, he was he was pretty involved with a lot of big shit up until the Harry Potter films. That's kind of when he decided to just kind of put on the slowdown. Now he has done some other things. Now, as a producer, I should note this. I'm going up to producing. He's actually produced a ton of film. So by the looks of it, by the early 2000s, as she kind of stopped directing and writing for the most part, maybe a project or two spread out there and there, but not a lot. It seems like he kind of shifted to becoming a producer, because pretty much his producing filmography just pretty much filled that whole early 2000s onward of work. So that's probably where he started to kind of shift his career as more into producing. So I imagine my best guess probably is Family Time, probably, to be honest. Now, I wanted to talk about him today because he's one of those guys that has been involved in a lot of stuff that I feel like not everyone realizes. There's so many films he's been involved in, directed, writing, produced, or a combination of the three, that a lot of people look back on fondness, but I don't think they realize that a good majority of that came from one guy. Everyone knows about Spielberg and Lucas and everything, but Columbus, I mean, he's done so much without any sort of big fanfare. Real, I mean, I'm pretty sure there are people out there that are aware that it's Columbus. I think I think the biggest reason why that people aren't because he stopped workhorsing it. He started to kind of level off a bit and started to kind of do chill off it. I mean, if he was like Spielberg or Lucas that kept churning shit, of course he would probably be as known. But I don't know. It the past holds a lot of great things, but one thing that I can struggle with is the fact that once you stop doing your thing, it becomes easier and easier for people to forget that you've done all those great things. Now, they don't forget the things themselves, they just forget that you've done them. That's the trick. But yeah, he's produced a lot of stuff, and after he he really stopped writing after really for a long time after Christmas with the Cranks. That probably, I think that kind of tuned him off from all that. Directing, really, really a couple things in the late 2000s, 2010s, a couple things, a few things, but really nothing really. But producing though, pretty much from the 2010s onward, that's pretty much a huge majority of his thing. So, yeah. But yeah, I just thought, I mean, and that's the thing, it's he's done so much, but all these movies, the Gremlins, Mrs. Doubtfire, the Harry Potter films, Home Alone, all these films that people watch on routine, Like so many people, especially that grew up with him. Adventures in Babysitting is one that's kind of closer for me at least because I remember that film a lot growing up. But yeah, just so much, so many films, and yet like no, and yet like his name in itself, I don't think gets talked about as much, and I think a lot of it is because like outside of really producing stuff, his writing directing work has pretty much halted, for the most part for the last I want to say like between 15 and 20 years ish, and with some odd exceptions, with some a couple sprinkles spread throughout, like pretty much his producing thing. But yeah, I really, and that's the thing. It's like all these films are like everyone knows these films, but yet like people don't remember him, and I think it's something to kind of spotlight a little bit because, I mean, because it's weird. It's weird to have so many like famous things, but yet your name isn't famous. It's such a weird oxymoron, and some of the times that those kind of things have to be brought out. Now he did. I think a lot of it too was also he did a lot of work with other big names too, and I feel like sometimes those big names kind of get more latched onto the work than Columbus. Like Steven, like for example, John Hughes wrote Home Alone, but Columbus directed it. So a lot of people call it a Hughes movie, which it technically is, but he didn't direct it. And that can make a difference right there. So yeah, I overall this was he a very solid director. I would say check his stuff out, but I feel like a lot of people have already watched his stuff already. At least anyone who, and if you haven't, you probably at some point should. Um, the Goonies, another one right there that was big. I mean, geez, just so many. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. The Harry Potter films, of course, that by Corey. She's the Harry Potter fanatic. So Columbus is definitely somebody that's near dear for her. uh, but yeah, definitely somebody to check out for sure. I don't know if he's gonna do more. I mean, I've seen a couple like upcoming like Gremlins 2, Gremlins 3, The Goonies 2, but I don't know if he's gonna how involved he's gonna be in those, to be honest. And those are kind of off by a bit. So we'll have to see. But yeah, guys, I would check his stuff out. And check his stuff out. And if you already saw this stuff like a gajillion times, just kind of think for a minute and be like, oh yeah, he did. That makes sense that they were all from a similar person or mindset. But yeah, definitely interesting filmography. Not a big one, but a good majority of those movies that he's done are either movies you've seen or at the bare minimum have heard of, which is very interesting for someone like that to accomplish, that's for sure. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. In case you want to chat with anyone at the Campy Company, you don't want to use the YouTube comment section, we do have a couple options. First one is we have a Discord channel. You can find a link to that in the About page / About section of our channel. We also have a community tab in our channel as well. You can access that anywhere at any time. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like the videos, and have a good day.